Hello everyone and welcome to Coronation Street official today. Please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The cobbles of Weatherfield have never exactly been a place of peace and quiet, but what we are about to unpack today is one of those storylines that cuts right through to the bone. The kind that leaves you sitting on the edge of your sofa, forgetting to blink. This isn't just drama for drama's sake. This is the kind of storytelling that Coronation Street has built its legendary reputation on over decades. Raw, honest, and absolutely relentless in the way it holds a mirror up to real human emotion. At the heart of it all is a secret that should have stayed buried, a crime that was never supposed to see the light of day, and two women whose relationship is about to be blown apart in the most devastating way imaginable. When Lisa finally discovers the truth about what Becky has done, nothing on the street will ever be quite the same again. And honestly, I can't believe it took this long for it all to come crashing down. The fragile sense of normality on the cobbles is shattered once again as buried secrets claw their way to the surface, igniting one of the most emotionally charged confrontations in recent Coronation Street memory. When Lisa finally discovers the truth about Becky's crime and reaches a breaking point that no one sees coming, for weeks there had been an undercurrent of tension between the two, subtle shifts in behavior, unanswered questions, and a growing sense that something wasn't quite right. But as is often the case in Weatherfield, the truth remained hidden just long enough to make its eventual reveal all the more explosive. What makes this build-up so effective is how quietly it simmers. There are no grand dramatic gestures in the lead-up, just those small, telling moments that viewers who are paying close attention will catch. A look that lingers a second too long, a change in the subject when certain things come up, an excuse that doesn't quite add up. These are the cracks that form before the foundation gives way entirely. And Coronation Street plays that creeping dread absolutely perfectly. You almost want to reach through the screen and warn Lisa, because you can feel what's coming even when she can't. When it does come out, it doesn't arrive gently. It detonates, ripping through relationships and exposing not just Becky's actions, but the emotional consequences that have been quietly building beneath the surface. Lisa's reaction is immediate and visceral, a surge of anger and betrayal that feels both shocking and deeply rooted in the history she shares with Becky, and in that moment, years of trust are undone in seconds. Imagine how she must have felt in that instant, not just the rage, but that awful gut-punch realization that the person standing in front of her is not who she believed them to be. That feeling of being made a fool of having your loyalty weaponized against you. It's one of the worst things a person can experience, and Lisa doesn't hold back, not even slightly. What makes the scene so gripping is not just the confrontation itself, but the layers of emotion driving it. This isn't simply about right and wrong, but about the pain of deception, the sting of realization that someone you believed in has been living a lie, and the overwhelming sense of being made a fool of in the process. Becky, on the other hand, is forced into a position where denial is no longer an option, and as the truth closes in around her, the complexity of her situation begins to unfold, revealing motivations that may explain her actions but can never fully excuse them. I can't believe she thought she could keep this buried forever. Secrets of this magnitude don't stay quiet. They eat away at everything around them until there is nothing left to protect. The writing leans heavily into this moral ambiguity, allowing both characters to exist in a space where they are neither entirely right nor entirely wrong. And it's this nuance that elevates the storyline beyond a simple clash into something far more emotionally resonant. As Lisa's fury escalates, the confrontation takes on a physical intensity that mirrors the emotional stakes, leaving onlookers stunned and unsure how to intervene without making things worse. And in true soap fashion, the moment becomes a catalyst for a wider ripple effect that spreads across the street. Neighbors who once remained neutral are suddenly drawn into the conflict, forced to pick sides or at least confront their own opinions about what has happened. And the sense of community that once held everything together begins to fracture under the strain. Conversations become sharper, trust becomes more fragile, and the idea that secrets can remain hidden without consequence is completely dismantled. Becky's crime, once concealed, now defines how others see her. And the challenge she faces moving forward is not just about dealing with the immediate fallout, but about navigating a world where her actions have permanently altered her place within it. Meanwhile, Lisa must grapple with the aftermath of her own reaction, as the intensity of her anger leaves behind a trail of emotional wreckage that cannot simply be ignored once the moment has passed. There is a quiet shift in her character as the dust begins to settle, a realization that while her feelings were justified, the way they manifested may carry consequences of their own. And this internal conflict adds another layer of depth to the storyline. The show excels in these moments of reflection, allowing characters to sit with their emotions rather than rushing toward resolution. And in doing so, it captures something deeply authentic about the human experience, the way anger can feel all-consuming in the moment only to give way to a more complicated mix of regret, confusion, and lingering hurt. The aftermath is where the true impact of the storyline begins to take shape, as relationships are tested, alliances shift, and the longer-term consequences of Becky's crime and Lisa's reaction start to unfold in ways that feel both unpredictable and inevitable. There is a sense that nothing will ever quite return to how it was, that a line has been crossed that cannot be uncrossed, and that the path forward will require difficult conversations, uncomfortable truths, and a willingness to confront the damage that has been done. Yet within all this turmoil, there is also the potential for growth, for characters to learn from what has happened and to find new ways of understanding each other. Even if forgiveness remains out of reach, the storyline doesn't offer easy answers, instead choosing to explore the complexity of human relationships and the ways in which trust can be both fragile and resilient depending on how it is tested. As viewers watch the fallout continue to unfold, they are drawn into a narrative that feels as emotionally raw as it is compelling, a reminder of why Coronation Street has remained such a powerful force in television storytelling for so many years. In the end, Lisa's explosive confrontation with Becky becomes more than just a dramatic moment. It becomes a turning point, a catalyst for change that will shape the direction of the story for weeks to come, leaving behind a trail of questions about loyalty, accountability, and whether the truth once revealed can ever truly set anyone free. And as the immediate shock of the confrontation fades, a quieter but far more unsettling phase begins to take hold across Coronation Street, where the emotional consequences linger in every interaction and unspoken tension fills the gaps between conversations. Lisa, once fueled entirely by anger, now finds herself grappling with the aftermath of her own actions, questioning whether the line she crossed in that heated moment has changed her just as much as Becky's betrayal has changed everything around her. There is a visible shift in her demeanor, less explosive but far more guarded, as she struggles to process the mix of hurt, guilt, and lingering frustration that refuses to settle. Becky, meanwhile, becomes increasingly isolated, the weight of her crime no longer just a secret she carries, but a reality reflected in the way others now treat her with suspicion, disappointment, and, in some cases, complete avoidance. The community itself begins to fracture in subtle ways, as differing opinions about what happened create invisible divides, turning once friendly faces into distant observers. And this is where it quietly becomes something even more powerful. Because the shouting fades, but the silence feels louder than ever. What really lingers here isn't just the betrayal, it's the realization that some damage doesn't explode. It settles in slowly, and that's what truly changes people. In my opinion, this is where the story hits its deepest point, because Lisa isn't just reacting anymore. She's starting to see herself differently, and that kind of self-awareness can be just as painful as betrayal. And Becky, she's no longer hiding, but somehow that makes her more alone than ever. Which raises a difficult question. Was the secret protecting her or destroying her all along? Because let's be honest, when a whole community starts to shift like this, it's never just about one mistake. It's about how far the ripple travels and who it pulls under next. So now, you have to wonder, can Lisa truly step back from the edge she reached, or has something inside her permanently hardened? And even more importantly, is Becky capable of rebuilding trust, or has the secret already decided who she is now? Looking ahead, it feels like this isn't the end of the fallout. It's the beginning of something quieter, colder, where alliances will change, and one unexpected betrayal could still be waiting around the corner. Because in stories like this, the truth doesn't just come out, it keeps unfolding. So what do you think happens next? Does forgiveness even have a place here anymore? Or is this the moment everything truly breaks? Stay with this story, because the next twist might not be loud, but it could be the one that changes everything.